We let my husband's old friend crash with us for just 2 weeks. He turned our house into a dumpster fire, didn't shower, stank up the house, disrespected me. I don't want him to ever step a foot on my house, but my husband disagrees with me. Plus update. I, 28F, got married to the love of my life, 27M, last year. While dating and engaged, we lived in a small shed converted into a bedroom, living space in my in-laws' backyard. My husband's friend, let's call him Jack, lives in another state, so he flew over and stayed with us for a few days leading up to our wedding. Don't worry, on the night before the wedding, I stayed at my parents' house so my husband did not see me or my dress until the ceremony began on our big day. Jack is not a bad person and is a nice enough guy, but it's his habits that I'm not the biggest fan of. Jack is a heavy smoker and drinker, my husband and I are not. I am talking first thing Jack does when he wakes up is smoke a pack of cigarettes and starts drinking as soon as he can, doesn't matter what the time is. He smells strongly of cigarettes and was just a slob during his short stay with us. Let's also just say that Jack is not the most hygienic person around. After the wedding was over and Jack left, my husband and I had to clean up after him. He left multiple energy drink cans and cups all over the place, some empty, some half drunk, empty cigarette packs on the coffee table, even when we had a garbage bin right there by the door. The blankets and pillows that he used were scattered on the floor and it took a while to get rid of the cigarette smell. He always smoked outside, but because he smokes so often, the smell just latches onto him, follows him everywhere and lingers. A few months after our wedding, my husband and I managed to buy and move into our own home. I love our house and try to avoid making a mess as much as I can. It's nice, it's cozy, it's ours. One day, my husband gets off the phone. Jack told my husband that he intends to come down to see the house and wants to stay with us for 4 weeks. My immediate reaction was absolutely not. After last time? No, why 4 weeks? I don't know, but what I do know is that I don't want our house to smell like cigarettes and I don't want to have to clean up after him when I come home after work. I don't want our house to turn into a pigsty while my husband and I are at work. I originally said he can stay a week tops, but many conversations later, my husband and I compromised and settled on 2 weeks instead of 4. My husband assured me he will set house rules and make sure Jack follows them. Little side story, my husband visited Jack and stayed at his apartment for a few days. Jack is single and lives in a 1-bedroom apartment. My husband told me it smelled bad. He had to sleep on the world's tiniest 2-seater couch covered in mystery stains with a pillow equally covered in unknown stains. Shoes, dirty clothes, soft drink bottles, takeout boxes and who knows what littered all over the place. My husband FaceTimed me one night when he was alone in the apartment and showed me the kitchen sink where there were plates with mold growing on them. I wish I was making that up. There is more to that trip, but that's a story for another time. My husband is not entirely thrilled about Jack staying with us either. We have talked about my feelings on the subject and he agrees with me for the most parts. We have talked about my husband potentially cutting him off, seeing that Jack doesn't contribute much to our lives. However, Jack is the friend he has known for the longest time. They have known each other since the beginning of high school, so he doesn't want to ruin years of friendship. Plus Jack struggles with mental health and my husband is worried that if he starts being distant and goes no contact, then Jack would take himself. Out of earth. Jack has made comments in the past like he wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for my husband. How if they weren't friends he would leave this world for good, you get the idea. My husband doesn't want that guilt on his conscience if that does happen, and I honestly don't blame him. So yeah, Jack's flight is in a few days and I am not looking forward to it. Ida for really not wanting my husband's friend to stay with us? Am I overreacting? Edit. Thank you guys for all the comments and advice. I will keep them in mind, especially the ones about getting rid of the smell. I will definitely post an update later on. I just wanted to add a couple more things. I was surprised too when my husband first said 4 weeks and he told me that Jack works full-time for a huge delivery company and has rarely taken time off, so he was able to save up the leave. I know, it's a lot of time off. He will not be staying more than the 2 weeks, he has got his messy apartment to get back to. I'm pretty sure he will get bored the first couple days he's here as my husband, and I will be working most of the days he's here, and there's really not that much to do around where we live. I have told my husband that Jack should stay in a hotel in town, but he said that it shouldn't be up to us to book a room for him. Jack should do that himself. I mean, fair, but not really, considering when my husband went to visit him, Jack wanted them to stay at a hotel instead of his place. I think he even expected my husband to pay for it, or at least half, so why shouldn't we have the same courtesy? My husband has always been some kind of moral support to Jack. Sometimes I don't think he actually realizes that they are not teenage boys anymore and that my husband has his own life and is married. He would call at the most random times at night and on the weekends, essentially when my husband and I are spending time together. I would say something like, "Oh look, your boyfriend is calling." My husband just watches the phone ring and ignores the call. He has suggested to Jack that he goes to speak to someone and seek professional help, as it's hard for my husband to be there all the time for him. them living in two different states, but you guessed it, Jack doesn't want to and thinks it's not worth it. What do you do when someone doesn't want to help himself? We have a blowout mattress that we will set up for Jack with some old bed sheets and pillows that we will throw away after he leaves. We were going to get rid of them at some stage anyway. I will keep a bottle, or 10, of Febreze handy with some candles and air freshener that we have. I truly hope that Jack respects our rule of not smoking in the house and goes outside when we are not home. He smokes outside when he's at his apartment, so surely he will do the same here, right? My husband will speak to him before he comes down about the house rules and let him know that if he can't respect them, he's no longer welcome here. I told my husband he should mention the cigarette smell as well, but he's hesitant about that. He doesn't want to be rude. I said the smell is rude to my nostrils. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks again, everybody. Update. Hello again, everyone. I have linked my original post about my husband's friend coming to stay with us and me really not looking forward to it. Well, my husband's friend, who I called Jack, has come and gone. So, Jack stayed for 2 weeks as planned. As expected, the smoke smell was all over the house and so strong, especially in the living room and the guest room where he slept. The smell would be most prominent when he would walk back inside from smoking. It would just follow him and hit you in the face when he would walk by. Keep in mind the man smokes multiple times a day, literally first thing he does when he wakes up and last thing he does before going to sleep. Who knows how many times during the day. Thankfully he never smoked inside. My husband made it clear that if he did, there would be serious consequences. The issue was that he would flick his cigarette butts right in front of our house when he was done, right by the front door. I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of litter in my front yard. It was tricky, but I have managed to clean up what I could see and dispose of them. Couple of nights, my husband and I went to bed fairly early, when we both had long days at work, so Jack was the last one to go to sleep. He stayed up late in the living room and then went to bed. We found out Jack did not turn off the lights in the living room and kitchen, so they were left on all night. My husband brought it up, to which Jack said he didn't realize and just shrugged it off. He did the same thing when I mentioned that I noticed he had left the front door unlocked overnight after a late night smoke. We told him to make sure to turn off the lights and lock the door after himself when he's the last one in, which, you know, him being an adult, I didn't think would have to be told. Now we live in a safe neighborhood and I know that those are not necessarily a big deal, but to me, it felt like Jack just didn't care or respect that this is our house and we are the ones who pay the electricity bill. He kind of gave a not my house, not my problem attitude. Jack bought alcohol and mixed it with all the soft drinks we had. Look, I don't mind him having a drink here and there, but when he drank all of our soft drinks and did not bother replacing any of it or even offer to, that annoyed me. I particularly didn't appreciate it considering when my husband visited him, my husband was not allowed to have a drop of his soft drinks, not a sip, nothing. I'm not joking, my husband had to either buy his own or rely on tap water because the soft drinks Jack had were for Jack's alcohol and his only. Needless to say, I don't like the hypocrisy. When we went out to eat, which we did a handful of times, Jack just followed along and expected us to pay for his meals every time. I won't lie, my husband and I live pretty comfortably, but that doesn't mean I want to cover the bill every night. I'm sorry, he is a grown man with an income. If he can pay for smokes and drinks, he can pay for his meals. My husband would sometimes order for all three of us, cause in some places it's easier to just order everything together. Jack never said anything about paying his half, but after we got our food, I would smile at Jack and say something along the lines of, "So you will transfer us your share later then? Your food was this much." Petty, I know, even a little bitchy, but a girl's got bills to pay. We had friends over for lunch one day, mutual friends, so everyone knew each other. My husband thought since Jack was here and those friends knew and got along with Jack, we would invite them over and all hang out, have a nice lunch, play games, whatever. Well, Jack was on his phone the whole time. Texting, phone calls, barely speaking to anyone in the house, constantly walking in and out to go smoke while being on the phone. My husband and I had lunch ready and all of us were having a good time while Jack was busy being antisocial. Jack was also drinking, clearly getting drunk. He was stumbling around the house and ended up passing out in the guest room by 1 p.m. But before that happened, he spilled his drink on our floor while drunkenly trying to open the front door, and what did he do as an attempt to cover it up? He just laid down his hoodie on top of the spill, that's it, just his hoodie laying there on the ground, soaking up the alcoholic beverage. Remember that hoodie? Thankfully there is no carpet where he dropped his drink, but there was still a pretty big mess and some of it went on the door and wall, which I had to later clean up. Some of our friends ended up staying for dinner, which I really did not mind. If anything, I enjoyed their company and thought it was a fun day. After they left, Jack made his appearance and said he thought they overstayed their welcome. Yep. Another thing I want to mention is Jack's personal hygiene, well, rather, lack of. I asked him if he needed a toothbrush when he first arrived and he said no. I thought, oh cool, he has his own. Wrong, turns out Jack does not brush his teeth. At least he didn't when he was here and thinking about it. I don't think he did when he stayed with us last time either. I think he probably showered maybe twice this whole time. When it was time to do the washing, I asked Jack if he had any dirty clothes to wash. I knew he did, but he said no. He wore the same clothes for 2 weeks straight, including underwear. I don't know if he thought washing his clothes would be an extra task and a burden to me, but I wouldn't have minded. If anything, I would have liked for him to have clean clothes and not smell. To each their own. I don't mean to criticize anyone or sound rude. Personal hygiene is personal, but from what I can tell, he really doesn't look after himself. Now, remember the hoodie Jack used to clean the drink he spilled on the floor? Yeah, that hoodie was never washed and Jack wore it the last couple of days he was here, including on the way to the airport. Jack stunk. He definitely smelled the worst by then, a horrible mixture of cigarettes, body odor and dirty clothes. My husband had to drive him to the airport and his car reeked for days afterwards. Our house is just now starting to smell like our home again. Thank you, scented candles and Fabries. The cigarette smell was so strong and bad, it made me feel sick sometimes. Truth is, after just a few days of him being with us, I didn't feel comfortable in my own home. I told my husband that I have had enough. I know this sounds harsh, but Jack is not staying here ever again. My husband didn't think I was serious and tried to brush it off by laughing, but I told him no, I'm not joking. Jack can visit, sure, but I do not want him to stay with us again. My husband said that I was being dramatic and overreacting, that it wasn't that bad. I spoke to my mom to get her opinion and she pretty much said that sometimes, those kind of things are just what you put up with for friends. I can't help but wonder if my husband is right and maybe I am overreacting? Am I making a big deal out of this? I don't know, maybe I am being too harsh, but to me, my husband and Jack have grown into two different people and it looks like their friendship is very much one-sided. Anyway, there's more, but that's essentially how it went down. As the song goes, hit the road Jack and don't you come back no more.